Hi, welcome today. Glad to see you here. I'm wanting to talk to you today about putting an accordion book together from scratch. And I have some that are sort of in process here. This is one that with the two end boards and nothing's done in the middle. So it's ready to go. So is this one actually ready to go? And then this is one that I've finished and I've been playing around with how I'm going to wrap it. Just use some binder twine today. But this one, when you open it, I've actually done some work on the inside with some magazine pictures and things. So they're a lot of fun to do, and they're a great project to do with kids. And I'm going to show you how I put one together. So I hope you enjoy my video, and we'll see you in a few minutes. So the first thing that I will suggest is that you get some 9x12 paper, and this is from Creatology. You can get it in I think they might even carry it at Michael's. I know they have it at Target if you're in the States. And anyway, it's 9x12, and what's nice about this paper is it's pretty good quality for this kind of work. And yeah, so, and 9x12 is the perfect size. So I suggest you get a pad of paper, 9x12. You're going to need a pair of scissors, and you're going to need a pencil, which I don't have with me, and an eraser, which I don't have with me. You're going to need to have some gesso, and this is my beat up bottle. And you're going to need to have some molding paste. A little bit of molding paste goes a long way, so you'll have this jar for quite a while. You'll need a spatula of some kind to scrape the molding paste with. You will need a couple of paint brushes. These are a couple of old beaters I use quite a bit. This one is a number 1 flat brush, and this one I don't even know if I can read it anymore. No, I have no idea. I think it's maybe a no. I'm not even going to guess. I'm not even going to guess, but about this size. And you're going to need watercolor paints, and I'm just using my travel kit because I like the intensity of the colors that are in this. It's a Winsor and Newton case, and it's terribly abused or well loved, depends how you look at it. But you're going to need watercolors. Now if you're doing this with kids, you could even use watercolors like a Reeves watercolor set, or any of those things will do. You're going to need a piece of cardboard, and the cardboard that I'm using has come from just an empty shipping container. It's not too, this one's a little thicker than the one I'm going to be using today actually, but any size will do. And you're going to need a paper toilet roll, and that's cut. A couple of a stencil of some kind. These are the ones I'm using today. Any stencil would do. You could even make your own stencil. Just make a pattern on a piece of cardboard and cut it out. It's a good idea to have some wet ones around because you can get kind of messy, and you're going to need a cup to hold your water. That's about it. So if there's anything else, I'll add it as I go along. So we'll see you soon. I'm just going to go and set things up, and yeah, we'll get on to making this accordion book. Hope you have fun. Bye. So I'm back. I made these with my grandkids. This is the paper we used. 9x12 is a really great size. These sheets are, you know, the perfect, you can get 3 of them into this. And if you look here, there's 3 of them right there. And yeah, it worked perfectly. It worked perfectly. When I did this with the grandchildren, I actually did the measuring and cutting first before they came, because you have to pick and choose your battles, and this didn't seem to be one that I wanted to do with them, because I might lose their attention. So what happened was, I first of all wanted to make 3 strips. So what I did was I measured the paper on the 9-inch side, and I just measured it every 3 inches. And I'm using inches, not centimeters, though this is, I am in Canada and we do a lot of that centimeter stuff. It's just that I grew up with inches, and inches are still how I think in my brain. So and then you would draw these lines down. There we go. So now you have your 3 strips, each one of these making their own accordion book. Then you take it and turn it around the other way, and you'd measure every 2 inches. So every 2 inches. And again down here. And then you draw these down and get your, oh, that doesn't look right. I never seem to, yeah, look at me. Oh boy, that's why you double check. That's okay, it's good to show that too. So here's 2 inches, and so on all the way down here, and then you would have this. So you have 3 inches on this side for the strips, and 2 inches each one of these for the actual folding pages of the book. And then you would take your scissors and you would cut it out. So just cut along and make 3 long strips for 3 books. And when you're finished, you'll end up with 3 of these. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and you're set. Now the next part is the folding. So I'm going to show you how I folded these. And this part I did do with the kids, and with, you know, the 9-year-old had a little easier time than the 6-year-old, but they both did okay with it. And I just like to take my ruler and lie it along the line and then just score it so that you have a fold there. I'm using the wrong side of this great ruler. There we go. Let's try this because it has a, that's better. And then here. And then again here. And again up here. So that you have a fold. And then you pick it up and you just start folding it back and forth. And if you find that it's a little crooked, this is when you even it up a little bit. But the lines are already made, so it makes it pretty easy to do that. This is also crooked, so I'm just going to slide that around that way. Do a little extra press here. Okay, there we go. And then we have this side. And there you go. Now I have a folding book. And I can really enforce these by running my ruler along them to really make sure that these are scored well. Because you want a nice press so the book opens and shuts well. There we go. Okay, there, nice fold. See how tiny and tight that makes that? All right, and I like to, if you have a look at, I don't know if I've got any that are here that are, here's one, I've got it painted on one side, but this is what I'm going to end up with. So you see that I have a little indentation on each page because I like the look of that. So what I do there is I just took and drew a curve on each one of these, like so. And on here you can make them as deep as you choose. And then you follow it and round it out with your scissors. Like so. Oops, bump the camera. That's not a good idea. Again, this one I'm going to try and, oops. I get little bits of paper all over my studio when I do this, but you know, what the hey. All good. And then when I open it up, I have that. So you can then, at that point, you have 2 choices. You don't need to make a cover for this. This would be fine on its own. This would be one end and this the other. So you'd have, these would be the book covers, the 2 ends. And then through here, you could have your, whatever you decide to put on the inside. I, however, like to make a cover. So I take that piece of cardboard that I showed you, and I just trace it. Trace the shape. And this is something else that the child can do, or the kids, if you're doing it with more than one. Now you don't have to use cardboard. You could use scrapbook paper. You could use, I don't know, I'm sure you guys could come up with way more ideas that I can even think of. Everybody's so creative out there. And now I have 2 of them traced and I cut them out. So next time you see me, I'll be talking about what you do with the inside of the accordion book, and later on we'll talk about what we're going to do with these 2 covers. Okay, so here I am. I've actually painted one side of the accordion book, and now I'm going to paint the other side. I've got my watercolors here. I just use my little traveling ones because, oh, they're handy and they don't take up a lot of space on my desk and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to do, I think I'm going to use this as the back of the book. So I'm going to use this one as the interior. Of course, I could change my mind on that. So I have to say this is one of my favorite shades right here. So I'm just going to soup it up because you like it nice and washed like a good wash. And yeah, I'm going to just paint the whole thing the same color. I don't worry too much about trying to keep it even, or even if it sticks really well or not, because this, of course, is what you would call the background of the background. If you ever have followed Laurie Marie Jenkins, this is before you put on your underpants, frankly. This is what goes on the very first layer in your background. So, and children have lots of fun with this. So, you know, painting is always fun for them, and for me too, frankly. So just going to wet this down, get it nice and get the colors on, make sure all the areas are covered. And you see that it leaked on, or some of the green from the other side have washed through, and I'm okay with that too. Okay, I'm just going to dry this, and we'll get on to the next part. All right, I've got it dried on both sides, and I kind of like how this turned out with it. Well, it's not quite dry yet. Because it's a little marked up and so on and so forth. So now I'm going to create kind of a little sluice or a heavier wash. I think I'm going to use this dark color right here. Come on. There we go. It's a dark brown. And get it very heavy and dark. Because I'm going to do a little printing on this now. So I think I'll add some blue to that, actually. Really give it some interesting, yeah, nice, like that. Okay. I'm just going to add some more water to get it really mucked up and create a little bit more. You can see why my paints look the way they do. Sacrilegious, the way I treat them. Okay. So I've got this kind of a murky gray brown thing going on, and I've taken a just a toilet roll and cut it, and I made a print thing with it, so it fits quite well in here. I'm just going to dip it in, get it nice and soak up some of that paint, and then I'm going to make some marks on here. Okay, and I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and I'm done with that. And then with what's left, I'm just going to soup that up a little more with a smaller brush and then do some drops. And on the other side as well. Okay, so this is just going to be, I'm not getting to, there we go, now I got it. All right. These little bits and pieces may or may not peek through, depending on how I finish up the book. So, done. Both sides done. I'm just going to let it sit up for a little bit, and I'm going to let that dry. And when I talk to you again, we're going to be talking about the book covers. Hi. So I'm here for talking about the two covers of the books. I cut these, I traced them and cut them out of the cardboard. And I just wanted to mention that the cardboard comes from, you know, shipping boxes that come into the house. Quite a fan of Amazon, so some pretty nice cardboard comes in here. I retrieve some and use it for these projects. So I'm just going to add gesso to both sides of this. And cleaning up, I'm going to use the same brush I used with the paints. So, okay, so we're going to just put a little gesso here. I put it on fairly liberally. I'm not stingy with it, but you can do it any way you like. I also don't worry too much how even the coating is, because I like a little texture. So I'll do both sides of this, and you can see that it really helps cover up the white tape that's on this cardboard, though when it dries you'll notice it still, but by the time I'm finished, hopefully not. Okay, Now I'm going to let this dry, do the other side, and when I have them both covered on both sides, I will return and I will show you what I do once I have them both the covers gessoed. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, we're back, and here I am with my two finished or gessoed covers. And now I'm going to add some stenciling to it. Now this is just for texture, and you may or may not want to do this. There's lots of ways you could add texture. You could, you know, glue strings on here and then let them dry and paint over them, or you could scratch into the gesso and make marks that way, or you could just paint these with acrylic paint and not worry about any kind of texture to the cover. But I wanted to use texture, and the grandkids really like working with stencils and the molding paste. They think it's kind of magical. So this is what I did here. And this is what's so great about this project. It's good for kids from 6 to 600. And so this is just an old stencil. I got these, I don't know where I got them, and I've used them multiple times. So I think I'm going to use the dots because I really like how the dots look. Look good. Okay, I'm going to try like this. Okie dokie. That looks pretty great. And I've got my spatula here and my molding paste. You can use molding paste for a long time because what you don't use, you scrape back into the container. So the trick to stencils is you have to keep the stencil down on the surface and not let it lift or move in any way, because if you do, then you're going to smear the molding paste, which you don't want. So you can see why little kids would love doing this. I like doing it. It's fun. So I'm just going to spread this around and pick up the extra and scrape it back into the container. Waste not, want not, you know, all that. There we go. I think that's pretty even. And I'm going to lift this off very carefully from one end up. Oh, great. It didn't go. There we go. There. Perfect. Got some nice little spots there. So I don't know if you can see that or not. You see how that looks? Looks really great. So I'm going to put that one down, and we're going to try again with the other. And I wanted to let you know that you can see perhaps where the white is on this side, and actually I'm going to use this as the inside cover of the book, so you won't notice that at all. So I'm using the side that does not have the tape showing, and I think this time I'm going to use the squares. So actually, why not try this one? I haven't used this one and it looks really cool, so let's give this one a shot. Yeah, let's go like that. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay, a little bit of scrape here. Oops, hit the camera. That's good. That's good, Lynn. Really good. And away we go. Again, I start from the center and I work out and I hold the stencil. Don't let it lift up if you can possibly help it. Oh, I have a little trouble here. There we go. Okay, again, I'm going to put the excess back into the jar because you can make molding paste yourself, but I haven't done it yet. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to lift this up, see how it works. There we go. That's pretty cool too. I don't know if you can see that one. Pretty light. Anyway, you'll be able to see it once it dries for sure, and once I put the other, put some paint on it. So I'm just going to go and wash these stencils before they harden, because this stuff is, I like to use these stencils over and over again. So I'll be back once I do my cleaning. So it's time now to paint these covers. You can see that they're dry, and I'm going to now take and I'm not going to paint the inside cover, but I am going to paint the outside. So I've chosen a kind of a mustard yellow. Yeah, just a craft acrylic, so not an expensive one. And I'm just going to add some color to that now. kind of cheery. Wipe it off once it's dried. Once I've got it all on, I'm going to put it on both. You might want to do 2 colors, you know, one on the back, one on the front. You might want to do, oh, there's a million variations, you know, whatever. Okay. There we go. I think I've got it. I also wanted to let you know that I gessoed around the edges as well of the cardboard because the cardboard's quite rough. So okay, now I'm going to take a wet one and just wipe off. Not really hard, but hard, you know, with some force, so you're removing some of the paint. I think that looks delicious. Right on. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's do this one. Here's another pattern. Okay. A little bit of a crease there. I'm just going to try and pick up a little more. Well, that looks awesome, I think. Really happy with that. I like the little bumps and things that have been left. Very good. Okay, just going to let those dry. And I'm going to take a little distress ink, I think, around the edges, which I didn't mention before in the preliminary stages. But, you know, as you go, sometimes you come up with other ideas. That's what's so much fun about doing this work. Okay, I'll be back in a shake just after this dries. All right, so I'm going to add some distress ink, and I'm going to use walnut stain and a blending tool from Tim Holtz, the Ranger series from Tim Holtz, to do this. So it just requires a little dabbing, and then I'm just going to rub along the edges. I like the way it antiques it and sort of finishes it. I might rub a little inside just to highlight the pattern a little more. Now, if you have little ones doing this, they might want to put glitter on here or take some markers and, you know, do something on the pattern itself. But this is what I'm doing because, you know, there's no grandchildren in the room right now. So I think that looks pretty cool. Okay, here's the covers then. I'm just going to sit them to the side, close up my ink. Here's my book. This is the back, this is the front, this is the inside, this is the outside. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip this over, right? So I'm looking at the back. I'm going to take my glue stick, apply some glue to the end page, and then I'm going to take the back of this, the white side, and stick it on there. And I'm going to make sure that on the inside it's centered. There we go. Now you might want to use more permanent glue if you're working on something for yourself or as a gift versus the glue stick. I'm going to do it on this one this time. Doesn't matter which really. But glue sticks are great to work with, you know, if you're working with the younger set. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And always flip it over and make sure it's attached properly on the inside. There we go. Okay. And then if you fold it, again, just do the folds, back and forth, back and forth. Whoops, it's not quite dry. And back and forth. Now you got a little bit of a trim there, so I'm just going to take a pick of scissors if I can find a pair. And trim it up a little bit. I hope I'm doing this under the camera. Sometimes I move around so much and you can't see. So there we go. This is going to be the front. This is going to be the back of the book because these are the end pages of the book. All right, so now it's ready to create. You can do whatever you choose in here. And you might want to take some more stamps, or you might want to take some stickers. This is the back. The very first accordion book I did both back and front. So there's a million different ways. This one I'm not quite finished yet, but this is one that I took with me when I went up to the mountains just a few days ago, and I put a grommet in it. And I'm going to put a grommet on the other side so I can run a ribbon through. But this is the inside, and this is the back. Another great thing I think it would be to do in the back of the book is to just put some words in here. Yeah, how sweet is that? All right, so have a good day. Lots of fun to all of you enjoying your crafts, and I'll talk to you soon. You can find me at timeofmylife.com. I have a blog, and I have many things on there, from this kind of thing to traveling tips and poem even, if you're interested in that. Okay, talk to you later, and take care. Bye-bye.